Hello and welcome to News Laundry Interviews. Today I'm joined by Ashok Lavasa. Welcome, Mr. Lavasa. Those of you who follow the news and current affairs know who Mr. Lavasa is. He is the former election commissioner who very recently stepped down and now is with the Asian Development Bank with ADB, and he's also the author of An Ordinary Life. It says Portrait of an Indian Generation. It is predominantly based on the life of his father, who he calls Bauji, and it charts his life story, and through it you also get to see some insights into Mr. Lavasa's life before he became the high-profile bureaucrat that he retired as. Now there is a kind of, whether you call it a mythology, a kind of impression that whether you're in the police force or within bureaucracy, after a certain point, if you're too honest, you will be thwarted. Has that been your experience in government and in life?
When you say honesty is the best policy, so what is a policy? A policy is not something spontaneous. It's not something that just you do on impulse. I think what I mean by saying that it's a good policy is, or the best policy is, that having considered all alternatives, I think in the long run, probably you're better off. It is not that always the path that you pursue will get immediate rewards. So in the scheme of things, in that policy calculus, you have to factor in that you will have to bear some consequences. Mm-hmm. The moment you are okay with that, it's fine. And what I say in my preface is, it's like a labor pain. You don't create a human being without going through labor pains.
As election commissioner, you dissented with two other election commissioners on complaints against Mr. Shah and Mr. Modi, and at a time when very few people would actually act on a complaint against such powerful people in our country. And in related or unrelated incidents, there was a tax inquiry on your wife after that, and some. Was there a cost that you speak about in your article that you had to bear for your honesty, assuming it was honesty, and was that factored into your calculus of life?
Actually, I don't have information to look at it as cause and effect.
Okay.
But I think what...
Would you describe being combative as a virtue, or does it get in the way of being effective? Because your father wasn't combative. He was honest. He didn't hold grudges, clearly. Do you hold grudges?
No. In fact, Abhinandan, that is the point which I have made when I use that Kabir Doha, Na kaho se dosti, na kaho se bair. And I think if I were to delineate 2 or 3 characteristics which really impressed me about him, one was this, that he didn't believe in ruffling feathers, nor do I, by that matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think there is a possibility, by and large, to get your way around if you deal with things in a manner where you can persuade people.
There is always a kind of person or people, often who find themselves in positions of power and authority, who are looking to be ruffled. Because anything other than complete, dog-like loyalty is ruffling for them. Surely that philosophy can't work with such people.
The favorite axiom I have for that is...
The election commissioner is a very significant and an important role, and it is one of the more difficult ones to pull off in our country, because everyone's going to complain. Elections are a mess, even though they are much to celebrate, because a country of our size, our resources, our area, and the kind of tensions there are in the social fabric, to pull off an election is a Herculean effort. But there will always be people who are not happy, and justifiably so, because we have had elections where ballot boxes, machines have been found, in the car of a candidate. And you made headlines as election commissioner, and I'm sure you did things that were significant as, Secretary for Climate Change as well. Were you happy that you finally got that position, or was it a millstone that you said, damn, I could have done something that didn't put me in situations that, you would ruffle feathers?
No, I think I'll be dishonest if I say that I was not happy getting that position, because after all, it's a constitutional position. So, but as I was finance secretary, as I was environment secretary, it was another opportunity to do public service. So that's it. But on your point about elections being messy,
You think your father, and clearly you're extremely fond of, attached to, influenced by your father, which comes through in this book. You think he'd be proud of you?
Oh, that's a very difficult question. He, the two things that I remember of him, he was extremely brutally fair. One. Second, he didn't like flattery. So he never told us that what we were doing was good. I don't know whether he thought he was flattering us, but surely I don't think I've done anything to make him feel ashamed of what I've done.
You have spoken about that you were shocked that, the cops produce stock witnesses who are everywhere like God. And that when a police has to prove a case, they just come up with one stock witness after the other, and, they happen to have seen whatever the police wants them to see. You have seen this up close, as a bureaucrat. How do you deal with this and yet continue to serve, public service like you're supposed to? How does a bureaucrat kind of balance these 3-4 things without either destroying the system from within, because you've seen all this nonsense, at the same time going to sleep saying that I have lived up to Bauji's expectations of honesty, and yet not selling out? How does that work?
Generally, there is no conflict where you have to, resolve issues which raise moral questions.
There isn't.
There generally. It is another matter that it is only the conflicts which come to the fore as far as the public is concerned.
And how does a good bureaucrat deal with those then?
Yeah, that's what I was coming to. That
Why did you choose to write this book?
first of all, of course, there was a diary which I had. So there was a lot of material available in the diary. Having read the diary, I thought there was a lot of interesting events which happened in the life of this person, who happened to be my father. He could be anyone, actually. And there was a story which required to be told. I also was reading the biographies of some eminent persons. I reread the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. And I started asking myself that, what is it that makes people great?
Mufat khoro, muft mein itna hi milega. To watch the full unedited interview, you have to subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. Because when the public pays, the public is served. We depend on you and not on advertisers. So go to www.newslaundry.com/subscription and subscribe and get all our unedited interviews, our special video shows, comics, and everything that's behind the paywall. Remember, to subscribe to News Laundry, you pay just about 10 rupees a day. That's less than, a cigarette, and smoking is injurious to health. So subscribe and watch the full interview.
We, being an independent platform, depend on our readers, viewers, and listeners. Support independent media by subscribing to News Laundry. Go to newslaundry.com, click on the subscribe button at the top, and pay to keep news free.